I see that y'all only made the postseason 4 times since 2004. I think. I don't know, Max. I'm just reading. I don't know. It's hockey.
You can tell Stephen A. there's no postseason in hockey. He would know the difference.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I got it, right? I'm reading. You last won a Stanley Cup championship in 1967, which is the year I was born, okay? And still, when y'all made the finals and I showed up to Toronto, what led the sports networks was hockey. And it's the St. Louis Blues against the Boston Bruins. To show you how little I know of hockey, I'm proud of myself that I know that.
They're nowhere near Canada. Neither one of those teams.
Near Canada. It's Boston versus St. Louis in the Stanley Cup Finals, okay? But y'all still were talking hockey rather than your local basketball team. Well, lo and behold, that changed as the days percolated. And why did that change? It's not just because of your team. It's not just because y'all are in the finals, even though both have something to do with it. It's because you got a straight-up superstar leading the way in Kawhi Leonard. And unlike any team in America that has its city and its fan base behind them, the Toronto Raptors have an entire country behind them. They are the only representative from Toronto. Vancouver's going there in Memphis now. They moved to the States. This is about Toronto. Toronto literally has Canada in the palm of his hands because of one man, Kawhi Leonard. And if they win the championship, and we all believe at this point the Warriors in world of trouble, okay? Bottom line is they win the championship. And this brother stays, as opposed to leaving in free agency, you've got something in the making here. No other team in the States has the entire United States of America, contrary to what the Yankees and the Dallas Cowboys, with their disgusting, nauseating fan base, would have people believe. Nobody has an entire country in the palm of their hands, but the Toronto Raptors do, and that's where I'm going.
Well, congratulations. If Kawhi stays, instead of coming in third, behind the Maple Leafs and the Blue Jays, they'll be second on the news behind the Maple Leafs. They can win 3 chips in a row. The Maple Leafs still going to lead the news. You know how it is in Canada. But I'll say this about Kawhi. He's also a great, he's really the Raptors' first global kind of championship caliber star. Apologies to Vince Carter and others who were great. But I mean,
Tracy McGrady.
McGrady, of course, but a guy who's going to lead them to the championship most likely.
Chris Bosh. Yeah.
But he's also an excellent representative of Canada. Not to stereotype, but if you look, what's Kawhi? Kawhi is polite, tough, right, and a good dude. Like that. That's kind of like the stereotype of Canadians, right? He in certain ways it fits really well. But you can't say that a guy who plays at best the second most popular sport by a long shot in a town is more important to the fan base than, for example, Drew Brees is in New Orleans. Think about how football crazy they are down there. Think about what Drew Brees means to that fan base, or Tom Brady in New England, or Aaron Rodgers to the Packers. I mean, these guys, you could even argue at this point, even though they didn't make the playoffs, LeBron James in LA right now, because he's the only thing they got. So Kawhi is, if the question was, is he the most important in terms of growing a fan base? Yup. Kawhi is real important in terms of growing the sport of basketball in Canada and in terms of its place in the hierarchy in sports in Toronto especially. But there are dudes who play more popular sports in those towns that mean more to those fan bases.
Allow me to retort. First of all, you bring up Drew Brees and Tom Brady. I can tell you by virtue of simply bringing up their name, they offset each other. That's my point. That's really the point that I'm making. I'm sort of playing a numbers game from the standpoint that if you look at Drew Brees, Tom Brady, they both play in the NFL, right? We didn't even bring up Aaron Rodgers, okay? You got that going on. So what I'm saying is you have a multitude of individuals in this sport. You bring up LeBron James, yes, but we've been talking about KD. We're talking about Kawhi. We're talking about a whole bunch of guys, even though LeBron James, that iconic basketball brand that he is, I totally understand it. But what I'm saying to you is when you look at it from that perspective, they have competition. The argument that I'm making is Kawhi doesn't really have any competition. In other words, it's you and basketball with Toronto. You have an opportunity to make basketball relevant in an entire country. You understand? So it's not just about, oh, I'm rooting for you, the respective team that you're on, or I'm a fan of yours. What I'm saying to you is that when it comes to Kawhi Leonard, we don't get to think about just Toronto anymore. We have to think about the entire country of Canada, because if they win this championship, it changes a lot of things. And we could say what we want. Listen, the Blue Jays with Carter smacking the walk-off homer, great moment in the early 90s. I get it. But how relevant have the Toronto Blue Jays been?
Not very.
Exactly. And, of course, I just told you about the Maple Leafs. But if you're talking about Toronto with Kawhi and they're winning basketball games.
You're forgetting someone. See, Kawhi may be a one and done. He may be a pit stop here, bring you a championship.
I just said he stays.
But in the next couple of years, if he continues on this trajectory, maybe the best player on the team with championship aspirations, maybe who? Who? Spicy P!
Devo! Get out here. Come right up here. That's my friend Devo.
What's up, man?
Spicy P, look at the t-shirt.
Stephen A. wants to know where he can get that t-shirt. He's going to wear it to the game tonight for a
But
Sports Center special.
I came down here for Game 7 from Milwaukee.
Oh, okay.
Jurassic Park, and somebody was
Perfect.
so I just bought the shirt.
All I'm saying is this.
What
Couldn't they
size
have
do you
had
want?
a name?
Medium?
Hell no. All I can say is this. Couldn't y'all have said P Sizzle or something? Spicy P.